Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, it's like Nintendo meets Nintendo through the lens of Nintendo. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with ya. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, I might add, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing so good, and I have such exciting news for us, Patrick. So, we've talked about before, I am subscribed to Andrew Lloyd Webber's YouTube channel, The Shows Must Go On, where every week he's been posting like a new full-length show for you to stream on like Friday and Saturday here in the US. And I think he truly did not expect for it to be going on this long, because as much as he has avoided it, it really feels like he has avoided putting this next one up. But finally, the mid-90s recording of Cats that used to be play on like great performances on PBS is the one that's streaming, and I could not be more excited, because I definitely remember watching it as a kid, definitely remember loving it, and I was hoping that it would get to this point, and it has. We are reaching the bottom of the Andrew Lloyd Webber barrel, in the sense that like I think he's, after all, like the Cats brouhaha last year, I think he's a little like doesn't really want to put it out there, but he has no choice. It's either that or Starlight Express.
Look, man, I've been pulling for Starlight Express
the
whole time.
I would love it so much.
And look, we are going to be in this until at least July. So like, bring it on.
Look, he's going to be a coward, and he's going to be like, pandemic's over. I'm declaring the pandemic over because I've run out of shows to put on here.
Well, far be it for us to argue with Andrew Lloyd Webber. I guess if the economy must open, it must open. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Speaking of, I don't know what to do. My copy of Sonic Forces. Would you like to borrow it someday when I feel comfortable going into the post office again? If you would like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces, all you gotta do is email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And give us a mailing address where I can send you my copy of the game. You play it for as long as you want, and that'll be that. I'm obviously not sending it out right now, but if you want to get on that list, you can do it. Mark, we have got a big, weird task in front of us, so let us tarry no further and get into our topic. Today, we are mashing up Nintendo franchises, genres, types of Nintendo games. And this is all inspired by the indie game Super Mash, which I mentioned briefly on our last episode, and which was featured in one of the Nintendo Directs. And the premise of the game is that you have like two different game cartridges that represent like classic gaming genres, like platformer or shoot 'em up or whatever. And it generates a game based on that combination, and all the levels are procedurally generated, and there are glitches that happen in them that like, and there are different win conditions. The whole thing is a mess. The game is actively not fun to play. And like, it warns you ahead of time that some of the mashups are more fun than others, or more playable than others. But I've been in several that just like the win condition is physically impossible. Just because so many things are randomly generated that one of them is going to be, kill this many of this enemy, and you never encounter that enemy.
That's bad.
So it's always bad. And then there are also ones where it's like, get enough money to build a new ship, and then the glitch is every time you attack, money spawns. So I was like, wait, really? So I just pushed the attack button a bunch of times, and money just appeared everywhere, and I won immediately.
Yeah, it's
So,
like such a fun idea for a game, but executing it seems really, really hard.
right. So we have decided that we're going to execute on it today with just Nintendo franchises or Nintendo game concepts. So, Mark, why don't you walk us through what we're about to do?
Okay. All right. And I'm not even sure I understand fully like the mechanics of how we're going to pull this off. So correct me if I'm wrong, but basically we have a list of 50 different Nintendo either titles or like types of titles. Like for example, like classic Super Mario games in the vein of like Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers World. And then we are going to use die to determine which genres we will be mashing up with each other.
Right. So when we come up with these two different Nintendo genres, we are going to talk it out, figure out what a game that mashes up these two game types is. Now, maybe that just means we're taking some characters from one game and dropping them into like the gameplay of another. Maybe we're finding a novel way to combine them. Look, we don't know. We've not attempted this before.
Well, the part that I am feeling not confident in, and so I'm going to need you to explain it to the listeners, is how we are randomly generating like these numbers to mash up.
Sure. So, I have with me a pair of 10-sided die. One representing the tens column and one representing the ones column. So I'm going to roll them. They are percentile dice, or 1d100, as it were. And then since we have 50 choices here, I'm going to divide the number on the dice by 2, rounding up, I guess. And whatever we get will be one of these will correspond with the number of games that we have here, numbered 1 through 50. And I'll post the full list of the 1 through 50 on our Twitter account at NinCard Society if you are interested in seeing what the pool of games that we draw from here
yeah,
is.
we will spare listing off 50 titles.
By the way, I am proud of the list of games that we generated. It is a good list of games.
Also there's some like third-party stuff in there. Just a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, but like still strongly associated with Nintendo.
Yeah.
The one other thing is that each of us has a veto. So after a pair has been rolled, if one of us wants badly not to do it, or we start thinking about it, and we're like, I don't know, then we can call mulligan on it. Mark gets one of those, I get one of those, and we'll see what happens, I guess.
Let's
Mark,
do it. I'm
ready?
really excited. Yeah, okay, for sure.
Right. Okay, so the first is number 31. So rounded down and doubled is 16. And the other one is 21. So doubled and rounded up is 22, 11. So 11 and 16. So we are our first mashup here is Mario Kart and Animal Crossing.
Now this one's a little, I would say, like unfair, but also maybe a good one to ease our way into this, because there is already a little bit of like Animal Crossing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, there's one level, and Isabelle is right. Is Isabelle a playable character? Or is
I think
just...
so. And then like a villager. I think there's a couple to choose from there.
Do you know what I actually think would be a more like, I would like it if you were if it were more like Animal Crossing gameplay with Mario Kart sort of like painted over it, that instead of like running a town or an island or something, that you were like the groundskeeper or whatever,
or the proprietor of like a 100%. Like out in East LA. There is,
Mark, Mark, by the way, is pointing the direction I can only assume is east because I've got him over a video call. So I don't know. I don't know
It's
how you're
helpful
oriented,
to
which way you're
me.
posting. Sure, okay.
But there's like a huge like go-kart track out there. I would
Yes.
love this idea that like instead of being on a deserted island, you are the proprietor of like a small family go-kart business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be amazing. And then you could like, you have to like get different like other little attractions to get more interesting racers to like come and compete in your because like it starts out where it's just like Mario, Luigi, Bowser, and like a Koopa, and like that's it. And you gotta like get a pinball machine, and then like the Peach starts showing up, right?
Right, but like Peach is
Um,
a greaser. Everybody in this game, it's very like 1950s.
yes, totally. I love this. And yeah,
Like
you have to.
can you imagine like Bowser Jr. with like a pompadour?
Oh my, yes, I can. I can also. Can you imagine? This is the easiest to imagine. Roy wearing a tight white T-shirt, and he's got a pack of cigarettes rolled up in the sleeves.
Because I mean, it's like basically canon. The Roy is like a 3-pack a day type of dude.
Yeah, I love it. So in this, are you designing the tracks? Like, are you,
I
or
don't.
is that
So
too involved?
I think there is like an element of that, but it's not like mod nation racing.
Yeah, you nailed it. Mod Nation Racers.
Yeah. It's much like simpler. But I think you do have like maybe I think you do have some agency in it.
Yeah, like you pick the layout. Like there's maybe like 4 or 5 different layouts to choose from, and then you decide where in your like amusement park it goes. It's like an amusement. It's more like the boardwalk. It's like the Santa Cruz boardwalk is what it's like. And so you decide where to put it, and if it's like close to the beach, it takes on like the qualities of the beach, and like if you put it over near the mountain, I don't know, then it like is a little bit more mountainous. Yeah, so it gives, just like Animal Crossing, it gives the illusion of like wild customization without actually, making you design tracks. Now, here's the real question, Mark. Do you then actually race? Can you do real racing in this game?
I think that is vital. I think you have to do at least
Yeah.
a little bit of it. Like it reminds me in my head of um Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which it was the first Roller Coaster Tycoon without Chris Sawyer, but also it was the first Roller Coaster Tycoon where like you could design the roller coaster, and then if your video card was good enough, you could like sit in the roller coaster and do kind of like a point of view ride through of it.
Yeah,
Um,
amazing.
and yeah, I feel like that would be critical for something like this.
Well, okay, so I think we did it. I think we designed this game. Do we have a name for it?
Well, okay, so are you playing as Mario? Or like who is the proprietor? Like are you a toad in the Mushroom Kingdom and like your trade is running this family fun center? Or are you like yourself and you're in the Mushroom Kingdom?
Yeah, and like, well, this is tough. Or like, are you Tom Nook? Right? Like,
Mm.
are you an established businessman within the Nintendo ecosystem? Because
I
like I go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I love the idea of Tom Nook being a playable character.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe that's what it needs to be. If for no other reason than like, uh, I don't want to get away from the Animal Crossingness of it. Right. Like,
So this
yeah.
is a true like Jetsons meet the Flintstones situation where Tom Nook is crossing over
Yeah.
into the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, I think so. And he finds himself in the Mushroom Kingdom and he's like, "What? How do I make money here?" And then he goes about, he sees some people Mario Karting and he's like, "That's what I'll do. I'll open my own Mario go-karting place."
Yep, I love it. Oh, a title.
Uh
We don't have one.
yeah, what do we call this? Yeah. Um
Mm.
I mean, is it like something? This is wordy, so bear with me. But something along the lines of Tom Nook's uh, Boardwalk Cartorama or something like that.
Do you know what? I love it, and I'll tell you why. Um,
Please.
do you know I'd like Disney theme parks? You know, they will build a Little Mermaid ride or a Monsters Inc. ride, but they don't just call it Monsters Inc. or Little Mermaid. They call it, you know, like Ariel's Voyage Under the Sea, The Little Mermaid, or Mike and Sully
Yeah.
to the Rescue, a Monsters Inc. adventure. And that is what I think this game is. It's like, you know, we're doing a really wordy elaboration on something that's fairly simple, but you gotta have that title.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, look, we have to somehow communicate that it is these two franchises in the title, right?
Yep.
Because that's the whole selling point behind it. Okay, so Tom Nook's Boardwalk Cartorama is
Colon
a perfect
a Mario Kart
Oh,
adventure.
I love that a Mario Kart adventure. Yeah, sure. Adventure. Okay. Mark, are you ready to roll our second set of games here?
Yeah.
The first roll is 90, so half of that is 45. And the second roll is 13, so half of that rounded up is 7. So 35, wait, what did I say? 45 is Wave Race, and we are matching Wave Race up with Fire Emblem.
So I think to start out, you have to have like this is a dynasty of jet ski racers, right? Like jet ski racing has been in like the world and family for millennia. Like it is such an ingrained part of human culture that
Well, can I put like just a little spin on it that we are in a borderline water world scenario where 90% of the planet is covered with water. More than that, right? It's got to be it's like right. And like the a ski-doo or a jet ski or a Kawasaki, you know, water thing, like that is the equivalent of a horse, right? So the ancient all warriors do battle from the backs of a ski-doo.
Yes. And there are obviously, to my mind, 3 houses.
Okay, sure. Sure.
And we're going to follow like through the story, we're going to follow these jet ski warriors through generations, and the choices you make in each generation, you know, like change the story.
Okay. So I think we have to take the idea of that, like you do one thing in one generation and it affects future generations. We have to use the ripple imagery in the title, okay? So like Ripple of Ages is the subtitle of whatever this is. Ripple of something, right? So what type of game is this? Is this a racing game like Wave Race, or is it a like turn-based strategy game?
So I feel like what you really want to do in like I feel like you gotta race a little bit.
You think you gotta race? I wonder if it is if like the wave race part of it is more that you have to take into account like the roughness of the water, or like how, you know, that like you're still moving around on like an overhead map, and even it's more of like a real-time strategy game, but in like charting out the course that your racer that your like knights go on, that you have to really take the quality of the water into consideration.
You're totally right. So here's my pitch is it's like an overhead view, like a tactical map. And what you are doing is basically observing the map, and you are trying to gauge your opponents and like their strengths and weaknesses. And then you have to then you're seeing like what obstacles and like the conditions in the water and everything. And then you are plotting your course through
Yes.
the map, and then after you've made those tactical decisions, you like confirm, and then the race plays out, and you see how you
Perfect.
did
Yeah.
based on your choices.
That's great. And then like when you encounter the enemy units like along that like the like the numbers pop up in on like the right side of the screen, and you can see you know the characters die and like everything just like continues on in that fashion. So um it's sort of it keeps both elements of like the action of Wave Race and the strategy and like RPG combat of Fire Emblem.
Yes.
So what do we call this? Right now I have the subtitle as Ripple Through the Ages.
Well, okay, this I think Ripple Through the Ages makes total sense. And I think at least each one of like the three main racers has to be like modeled after you and I, Patrick. And I feel
Okay.
like in this game I would have really long flowing hair. Like down to,
Mm.
like my lower back, where people are warning me. This is kind of my thing in the game, is that people are warning me that my hair is going to get caught in like the
Oh,
ski-doo,
sure.
right? Or like in the thing that like spits out water. I don't know how those
Yeah.
things work.
Look, I haven't been on a jet ski since I was 12. So we're talking out our butts a little bit here. And the character that's like me is so militant about shaving all of his hair off and being like water dynamic, hydrodynamic, that people are concerned that he's sacrificing too much of his body, too much of his humanity for the jet ski.
I mean,
Maybe
these are
it's just these
compelling
two
characters.
houses. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Two houses, two compelling characters that because
Mhm.
in this time people live for thousands of years. These are
Oh,
characters
okay.
you're really going to want to get to know.
Wow, wow. I mean, that's and if we're doing stories across generations, that means that this epic is going to span hundreds of thousands of years. Now, do we just call this like fire wave or wave of fire ripple through the ages? Wave of fire ripple through the ages. Holy cow.
I mean, when you
We
strike gold, you strike gold.
yeah. All right, wave of fire ripple through the ages. That's perfect. Mark, are you ready to generate our third game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the first number is 89, uh, which again is going to be Wave Race. So let's just hold that for right now. And the second number is 35, so that's going to be 36, so 18. So right now we are looking at a cross of 3D Mario and Wave Race again.
I'm ready to move on from Wave Race. So
Mhm.
I'm going to use my veto on this one.
All right, this one has been vetoed. Okay, so the first game now is number 44, and half of that is 22. Okay, and then the next one is 63. So 64, 37. Okay, so 22 is Smash Brothers, and 37 is Mario Party. This one might not work.
Well, okay, I don't hate off the top of my head the idea of like a Mario Party that has a little bit of an expanded universe.
Okay, all right. So let's start there then.
Cuz like not everything I feel like let's like you could take the idea of Mario Party but like be like but we're taking it out of the Mushroom Kingdom, right? Like that
Sure. Yeah.
is played out. But, like Castlevania Party not played out.
Yeah, I'm and honestly, the just the just the thought of a Mario Party game that has as much content in it as a Smash Brothers or has like that much like love and attention behind it. Cuz like Mario Party is built on boards and it's built on mini games, and like if the mini games are drawing from everything that Smash draws on, if the boards are based off of areas from Hyrule and Zebes and all the other like iconic locations. Like I sort of just want like a souped up Mario Party.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think like you take Mario Party, but like you were saying, instead of the boards just being, like the Mushroom Kingdom and having that aesthetic, it's like, yeah, let's put us in a board that takes place on Zebes. And, sure, like you can choose from like Mario character avatars, but also there's like a whole bunch of different avatars. And
Yeah.
the mini games are all set, like in the Metroid world. Like yeah, like I think it'd be super cool to kind of see it be expanded beyond just the Mushroom Kingdom.
I also think that is a more logical place to have a like museum of sorts, right? Like because that's one of the things that Smash is celebrated for, is that it's like it's a museum sort of to or like a monument to all of these like Nintendo achievements, but like it's not accessible to someone who doesn't want to play a fighting game, right? Like it sort of is, in that like it's more like fun first than like competitive first, but like Mario Party is totally welcoming. um so what and so I think it makes more sense then for like everyone to be able to access it that way. What do we think? So it's a pretty simple pitch, right? But what do we think we would call this thing?
Um okay, so what did I am trying to remember the name of PlayStation's like Smash Brothers ripoff. What did they call it? It was like,
It is PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
okay, so I would call ours like something like Video Game All Stars Battle Royale.
What about Nintendo All Stars Party Royale?
Perfect.
Okay, that's good. I am going to roll dice and give you numbers, Mark. You're going to look them up, and I will write down the name of
Yeah, sounds good.
of that. Okay, so 62. So in half is 31, and and 56. So 28 is the other one.
Okay, so this is a mashup of Pocket Card Jockey and Arms.
Pocket Card Jockey and Arms.
Now, in a way, right? Like Pocket Card Jockey is, well, actually no. I was going to say it's like a fighting game, but it's not really. It is a competitive game.
Yeah, but it's not really, even though like it's competitive against the computer, but so too are all of these games. But there is there's like a sporting or like a one-on-one sort of like aesthetic to it. Not even one-on-one, but like
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you
yeah.
for humoring me. Okay, well, maybe a better way to approach it is not what they have in common, but just like what do we like about Pocket Card Jockey, and then what do we like about Arms, and maybe like there's a way to take those two ideas and meld them together.
Yeah. Well, so Pocket Card Jockey is in and of itself a mashup of game types, right? It is a horse racing game where your horse's performance in the race is determined entirely on A, stats, and B, your ability to play solitaire fast. Like that's it. And its solitaire gameplay is so satisfying and so fun that like that's the part I would want to lift from Pocket Card Jockey. Basically, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that you are basically building your own arms robot, right? And because there are robots that participate in the thing, or at least there's like the girl in the robot suit. And then the cop is a robot as well. And then there's the gelatinous blob guy, right? He's not a robot, but he's an experiment of some kind. So maybe like in this game, you are like designing your own arms fighter, and then you build up his stats by feeding him or training him in whatever way. Just like in Pocket Card Jockey, you're doing that with your horse, and then when he gets in the ring, you are playing games of solitaire, and when you win them faster, then he gets off more hits.
I love that. I would love for it to keep like kind of the cute chibi aesthetic of Pocket Card Jockey, and
too.
like still like presenting those arms characters but in that way. And then also maybe we're taking inspiration from like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a little bit, and like as you progress through the game, you're unlocking different parts that you can use to like upgrade
Oh
your
yeah,
fighter.
perfect. Yeah, well, and not just like parts to upgrade your fighter, but just like arms does, that you can equip different like different fists on like left hand, right hand,
Mhm.
and like really that, I mean, that's perfect, and like a good way to uh that's like the progression system.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense.
So what do we call this mashup between arms and pocket card jockey? What is it? What's like? What do you call the coach that's like the boxing coach? The guy that's like in the corner.
The
That
manager?
is. Yeah, I guess that's right.
What were you
That
hoping?
Rocky's like, cut me. I don't know. I thought that would maybe be something fun.
Okay, this is crazy and maybe like too much
Mhm.
work because I have not worked out really any of it. But do we turn arms into some sort of acronym? And like the S stands for solitaire, the M is like
Yes.
mechanized. And then the A and
Yes.
the R, I don't know. So maybe we have to abandon this now before we try to
No,
work
no, no,
this
no,
out.
no. No, this is perfect. So and the things that the like arms fighter that you're creating is not under your control. You're just powering it by playing solitaire. So the A is automatic. Okay.
The R is like robotic.
Automatic, robotic, mechanical solitaire.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna write that down. Automatic, robotic, what mechanical solitaire?
Yep.
Okay, that's another perfect game. Mark, are you ready to come up with our fifth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 74. So that's what, number 37?
Okay.
And 8 is going to be number 4.
So that's another Mario Party crossed
Mhm.
with Earthbound. I'm out of vetoes, so I leave it in your hands, Patrick.
I like dealing with the Earthbound, but the Mario Party of it seems like we've already created the best possible Mario Party, so I'm going to veto it.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Can I veto just the Mario Party part?
Can you do like a half veto? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. In my head I'm imagining like Legends of the Hidden Temple and you have like half pendants of life and like you're
Right.
that's fine. That's fair.
Okay. So we're keeping Earthbound, and the other half of this game is going to be number 30 on our list. Oh boy, it's Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. Mark, look, okay, so Earthbound we know is a sort of like classic JRPG type, but it is set in like modern day and has a lot of like kind of sad overtones, a lot of daddy issues, but is also like weird and goes into space and is bizarre. And Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, do you want to walk us through that one?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this game, even though I never played it. It was like a Nintendo 3DS experiment where, like, before Nintendo was really doing like in-game purchases or like really DLC much, they came up with this game called Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, where you would there was this dog named Rusty, and he like ran this baseball shop, and there were mini games that you could play, and if you wanted to buy additional mini games you could buy them from Rusty, but also like you could ask him for a better deal and sometimes he would give it to you. So it's not like there was like a set price for one of the mini games. Like it's possible that like you would pay a little bit different price than somebody else because like they negotiated with him and you didn't.
And it's important to emphasize that this is real money we're talking about. This isn't like in-game currency that you're able to barter against Rusty. You're talking real money. He says, "Oh, you want to play that mini game some more? It'll be $3." And you can actually say, "I'll give you $2.50," and he'll go, "Okay." So is that like do we keep that sort of um like bartering with Rusty as part of it? Like maybe like keeping with the Earthbound aesthetic that like you can it's just like a regular kind of RPG, but like you're sort of stuck in your hometown, and the only way to like get to other parts like other parts of the map and experience other parts of the story is to go and talk to Rusty. And some days Rusty will have quests for you to do on your own, and someday he'll be like, or you could also do this and it'll cost you $3.
Right, because like maybe in a twist, Rusty is the villain of this game.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's like kind of an oppressor, and so it's maybe a Mother May I situation where you're like, look, I have to deal with Rusty, so hopefully he's in a good mood and he will
Yeah.
negotiate with me. Now, of course, I think Rusty like is exactly as we see him in Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. So, I think he seems like a real chill, easygoing guy, but like
Mhm.
he has a soul of steel.
Yeah, well, and I also really like the idea that like maybe you can play the entirety of the game, get all the content without ever actually spending money by like doing the things that Rusty wants you to do, and then getting to like you butter him up nice enough, and then you can also negotiate him down to zero for everything.
Because Rusty is very susceptible to flattery.
Yes, very susceptible to flattery. Now, Mark, you used an interesting phrase earlier, especially considering the Japanese name of Earthbound. You said, Mother May I. I believe the name of this game should be Rusty, or like Rusty Presents Mother May I. Like, I think
Rusty's Real Deal Mother May I?
Rusty's Real Deal Mother May I.
See, the trick to naming titles is just to take two things and mash them together.
That's great. And but this would be a game that like people could spend way too much money playing, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's really important.
Okay. Rusty's Real Deal : Mother May I?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, good. Okay, we have now done 5 games, so I think we just want to quickly review the games that we have already done. Mark, would you like to take us through those while I roll up some numbers?
Oh, yeah. So we have a Mario Kart and Animal Crossing mashup called Tom Nook's Boardwalk Kartorama, a Mario Kart adventure. A Fire Emblem and Wave Race mashup called Wave of Fire, Ripple Through the Ages. A Mario Party Smash Brothers mashup called Nintendo All-Stars Party Royale. An ARMS Pocket Card Jockey mashup called Automatic Robotic Mechanical Solitaire. And then an Earthbound Rusty's Real Deal Baseball mashup called Rusty's Real Deal: Mother May I? ?
And maybe it's bad luck to end the name of a game with a question mark, but we're doing it. That's why there's no question mark in the title of Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Because it's bad luck to put a question mark in the name of a movie title?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. No, I didn't know that.
It's as though it's like a fragment of a sentence, like he who framed Roger Rabbit. Okay, so we our new numbers here are 29 and 15. So we are mashing up Wii Music with Dr. Mario / Tetris.
So I'm into this, and here's my quick pitch for this. Is that
yeah, please.
It's like a rhythm game, maybe a little bit like Dance Dance Revolution, or actually I guess more like Just Dance, where basically it's it's like Dr. Mario or Tetris, and you have like the puzzle pieces coming down from the top of the screen, but in order to like control them, you have to like do movements with the Joy-Con in time to like the music, and that's how you like rotate pieces.
So it's interesting that like what we have here is a synthesis of a falling block puzzle game and a rhythm game, right? Which is sort of what Lumines is, right? It's sort of like a Tetris that you have to do in rhythm. So I think if I think this, and that's a great template for us to rip off, add motion controls and Dr. Mario to it. I think that's perfect.
Great. I'm sold.
And I think the other thing that we should borrow from Wii Music is at the beginning of every level, like at the beginning of every board that you clear, and maybe let's make it just Dr. Mario and not Tetris, just for simplicity's sake. That you get to pick what your instrument is, so that like the sounds that are being added every time you rotate a piece or move it or whatever, that you get to decide, like, okay, for this round it's electric guitar, for this round it's violin, for this round it's a singing voice or whatever.
Yeah, and I also think the other piece to take from Wii Music is that like 99% of the songs are like classical music or public domain or occasionally like a Nintendo song, but for the most part it's going to be like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Suzuki Book 1 in there. But then also like, a Wham song.
Yeah.
Okay, what on earth do we call this thing? I mean, okay. So there's a music component and a Dr. Mario component. Is DJ Dr. Mario? Does that make any sense?
I think it does.
All right. Perfect. DJ Dr. Mario is our next choice here. Mark, moving on. Okay, 70, so 35. Great. And then 40, so 20. Okay, so this is a mashup of Pikmin and Brain Age. Here's where my mind goes immediately. It's from the outset has the appearance of a Pikmin game, but everything is so small, and instead of being on a planet, you are inside a human brain. And you collect the Pikmin the same way you would in like a regular Pikmin game, but what you're trying to do is you are trying to improve the quality of the brain that you exist on.
Yes. Can it be Dr. Kawashima's brain?
I think so, yes. I think Dr. Kawashima is like starting to become forgetful in his old age. And so he injects Olimar into his brain to get the Pikmin inside his skull into good working order.
Yeah, really, it's like the ultimate brain training.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And like some of the things that you have to do that you're not just throwing like red Pikmin at a thing to like burn it down, or like linking up yellow Pikmin to like connect electrical nodes or whatever. What you're doing is you're using Pikmin to solve like Brain Age style puzzles, right? There'll be a thing where like you see the little house and it's like you have to throw in 6 Pikmin and then 4 of them leave, and you're like, you throw in 3 more and it's like, how many Pikmin are there? You gotta go 5. I think 5. All right, so this game sounds fun, actually. I like. And I know last time we were pitching on games, I got really into the idea of a Bowser's Inside Story, like Dr. Mario kind of mashup. But I really like the idea of playing a video game inside the body of something else. I don't know why that's so fun to me. Mark, do you have a pitch to the name of this game?
Okay.
It's hard because Pikmin is just a single word.
Right.
Is it? You said Dr. Kawashima? That's his name?
Yeah.
So what if it's like picking Dr. Kawashima's brain?
Yes. Yes.
And so it's spelled Piking. Dr. Kawashima's brain. Okay, great. Shima's brain. Perfect. All right. Here we go again. Okay, so 26
Okay.
and 5.
So WarioWare mashed up with Metroid Prime.
I love this.
So I actually don't know that we need to do too much work here because I'm imagining Wario as a Dog the Bounty Hunter-esque bounty hunter. And you're basically doing all the Metroid Prime stuff, but you're doing it like in a real. It's not in space. It's not sleek. It's not cool. We are talking trash.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean yeah, I think you are 100% correct that this is just a Metroid Prime game, except we are changing the aesthetic of it entirely to be Wario. And we are putting all of Wario's like side characters in there. Look, there has to be just like Metroid Prime 2, there has to be a multiplayer version of this, where like just multiplayer first-person shooter, where like Ashley the wizard is in there, and like 9 volt and like 8. Well, what are they? 7 volt. It doesn't matter. All of the WarioWare characters are there, and it's super fun.
Can I also
yeah.
pitch that like at the beginning of the game, Wario gets into some horrible type of accident, like an anvil falls on him or something. So so like in Metroid Prime, where you're like upgrading Samus's armor, like Wario is like $6 million manning himself back together, or like robocopying himself back together. So like you're getting upgrades, so that way like more
perfect.
and more of Wario is being replaced.
Yeah, which is good because then it like keeps feeding into the like Wario is greedy. One of the things as we were generating this list, I don't remember if we talked about it, but I said like, oh, should we do WarioWare or Wario Land? And I like that we can still like keep some of the like greedy / like you need to get coins from Wario Land and kind of build that into this.
And I think we just call it Wario Prime.
WarioWare. Oh, so just Wario Prime? Yeah, maybe get the wear out of there, because we're not taking really any of like the micro game aspects of it. We're really just doing Wario and like borrowing those aesthetics. All right, Wario Prime. Oh my God, that sounds like a fun game. All right, Mark, I believe this is our last one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, 22. So 11 and 33.
So Mario Kart and Kid Icarus Uprising. So I'm wondering if you want to use your other half veto to get rid of Mario Kart, since we talked about it up front.
Mark, you know that I do. But I love keeping Kid Icarus Uprising. I think that's a great choice.
Also, I don't want to prejudice you. Like, you could use your half veto to get rid of Kid Icarus Uprising if you want.
No, because the new here's the amazing thing about the new numbers that I just rolled, is that we are going to be crossing Kid Icarus Uprising with Mario Paint. So, Kid Icarus Uprising, for those not familiar with it, and I could see why you might not be, is a really chatty game for the 3DS that you play as Pit, the Kid Icarus hero, who is also in Smash a lot. And the game is kind of 2 parts. Every level comes in 2 parts. The first part is like an on-rails, almost Star Fox-esque shooter. And then you land, and it becomes sort of a third-person like hack and slash sort of game. It is controlled clumsily with both the stylus, and you're like using some like button inputs with your left hand, which works okay in the on rails flying section and off terribly in the on foot section. And then there's a boss fight at the end of every level, and the game is built around a very Masahiro Sakurai Smash Brothers-esque, like you can wager more points, and then like the difficulty is harder, and it's kind of built around the idea that you can like retry things as you get better and better.
which is fitting because it is a Masahiro Sakurai Project Sora joint.
Yes. And then there's Mario Paint, which is a like a paint program, a movie studio, a music maker from the Super NES era. Mark, what do you think here? How do these two things combine?
Well, I think kind of like the part from Mario Paint that because like Mario Paint is a really chill game. It's like you take your time, you like
Yeah.
it's just about creation and in whatever form that takes. So I think that if we're going by like what are we taking from each one, I feel like we either have two choices for Mario Paint. We have like this is going to be a chill whatever it is and a good time,
Yeah.
or it's going to be like this idea of like creation.
I think probably the creation is the like useful part of that to take, especially considering how the like Kid Icarus Uprising formula could be like pretty easy to do like a DIY, like you're just putting enemies, especially the like the on-rail shooter part, that like if you just sort of like draw a map and like place enemies and then like have it render it in 3D, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so maybe it's like not to throw a third game in here, but like maybe it's a little bit Mario Maker-ish. But
Yeah.
you're just saying like, hey, you can make your own Kid Icarus Uprising. What all the kids have been clamoring for.
So one thing I would want to do here, or one thing we have to discuss, both of these games have atypical like methods of interacting with them, right? Like Kid Icarus Uprising, mostly the stylus, and Mario Paint use the Super NES mouse. How do you play this game?
Well, let's say
Yes.
you control. I don't know. I was gonna say something like really ridiculous, like, "Oh, you control it with your voice." But that's like, I don't know.
Okay, what if it actually is like this, that the creation tools are more like touch based, right?
Mhm.
So that you're like drawing and like Mario Maker, that you're actually like touching the screen and like drawing the lines and like dragging and dropping enemies. But then when you're playing the Kid Icarus parts of it, just give us a dual stick control. Like that's
Yeah.
all people wanted with that game anyway.
Well, I also wonder, and I think where we're at with this is great. I will just posit that, like, I wonder if we were joking that, like, or I was joking anyways, that like, oh, like Kid Icarus Uprising, like that's a weird thing to like build an entire like build your own this around. But what if instead of being its own game, do you remember when Super Mario Maker 2 was announced? And there's like other game types, and so people were anticipating there was more than one, but there only ever ended up being one. What if instead of being set in the Kid Icarus world, this was set in the Mushroom Kingdom world? So you would build this like on-rail shooters within the Mushroom Kingdom, and it's just like another game type within Super Mario Maker 2.
So, okay, hold on. So this is Super Mario Maker 2, just like downloadable content, DLC, but you're making levels that are like Kid Icarus Uprising levels
Set in the Mushroom Kingdom.
in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes.
And you're playing, but it looks like Super Mario 64, and you've got the wing cap.
Yes.
Okay. So this is obviously then just going to be the Super Mario Maker 2 wing cap DLC. And one of the one of the power-ups turns you into Pit or something. And there will be a lot of like Mario enemies to choose from. You can also, grab the eggplant wizard or whatever, whatever
like,
garbage you want to bring
because
over.
there's like 8-bit versions of those too.
Yeah, this is perfect. All right, Mark, we have now come up with a total of 10 mashup games. Should we recap them all? We can go back and forth.
Yeah, let's do it. First up, Mario Kart and Animal Crossing mashed up into Tom Nook's Boardwalk Kartorama, a Mario Kart adventure.
Then we've got the Wave Race Fire Emblem mashup, a wave of fire, ripple through the ages.
There's a lot of colon in these. Next up, we have the Super Smash Brothers and Mario Party mashup called Nintendo All-Stars, Party Royale.
And then after that, we have the ARMS Pocket Card Jockey mashup, which is still sort of called ARMS, but we can see that each of the letters in ARMS stands for Automatic, Robotic, Mechanical Solitaire.
Next, we have the Rusty's Real Deal Baseball and Earthbound mashup called Rusty's Real Deal, Mother May I.
Then, of course, is the Wii Music Dr. Mario mashup, which we're just calling DJ Dr. Mario.
Next, the Brain Age and Pikmin mashup called Picking, P-I-K-I-N-G, Dr. Kawashima's Brain.
And then the WarioWare and Metroid Prime mashup, which we are just calling Wario Prime.
And then finally, the Kid Icarus and Mario Paint mashup that is DLC within Super Mario Maker 2, and it is the Wingcap DLC.
Were we too early in wrapping up? That's only 9. We only have 9. One more encore. One more
encore because we promised the people 10.
I don't know that we did, but here we go. Here's number 10. The first one is number 85, so it's going to be 86, so 43. And then 32 is 16. Okay, so 16 is Animal Crossing, which we've already done. And what was the other one?
Baseball, number 43.
Maybe we should have stopped.
Well, look, I think KK Slider should have a baseball team. And
there we go.
They're just like pickup games, where and it's like KK Slider's like, who wants to be on my team? And everybody wants to be on KK Slider's team.
Yeah. I like it. It's good. Does it even need a name? Who knows?
KK Slider's Real Deal Baseball?
I love it. Mother, may I? All right, Mark, let's close this out. All right, those are the mashups that we made, but we are going to be including the entire list of 50 Nintendo game genres on our Twitter. That's at NinCart Society if you want to check that out. And then email us your mashups and explain them to us, because we would love to hear other people attempt this insane exercise. Because, Mark, I had fun. Did you have fun?
I did have fun.
Okay, and you can email those to us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like this episode, you can share it on Facebook or Twitter, wherever you share stuff. On Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more face music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying, thanks for listening.
Hey, it's Mia. Hey, it's Allie. And we host the Rom-Com Review podcast, P.S. I Love Rom-Coms. Each week, we'll have incredible guests come and discuss a new rom-com, grand gestures, meet-cutes, and of course, that elusive chemistry. Mia, what are you doing holding that giant boombox over your head? I'm hoping to win over listeners with this grand gesture. Take us back! Find a new episode every week and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by Campfire Media. Wow, you're still holding that boombox.
Yeah, I've got great upper body strength. Thanks, CrossFit.
P.S. I love rom-coms. Campfire.